Hey everybody, welcome to the Ordinary Professor, the space where I talk about social skills, all things, feelings, and emotional intelligence. Boom. If it's the first time joining me, please subscribe. This topic today is talking about adults, professionals, and college students that possibly need additional support in social skills, accommodations, and how you do it, what you do, and what not to do. So I pause because it's like, so this is just standard things. Like, it's not like, I pause again because it's very difficult to talk about these things. What I don't want you to do is watch this video and then go say, hey, Amy, like, you know what? I think you're on the spectrum and I have some ideas for you to work better. No, don't do that. No. And so that's why this video is to help you deal with the way you manage yourself when someone has any learning disabilities, cognitive disabilities, and you're either working with them, they're in your classroom. And so what I've been finding too is a lot of my colleagues often ask me for help or support, and it's not because I'm per se the expert. I do have a lot of experience working prior. In the anti-bullying, anti-violence space we had a lot of training on how to work with children with special needs, how to manage groups with special needs, and then how to de-escalate conflict. We had all these different trainings. So that under my belt for years and working with a wide variety of groups that were diagnosed, undiagnosed, I learned a ton. I think about it like 3 programs to 5 programs a week, different kids, just learn a ton. And you know what? Middle school is rough. So I can manage corporate, I can manage college kids on any day. And I don't mean to call them college kids, they're adults. Okay, so here's what I do, and here's my top 5 strategies. Number 1. You need to have structure, and I am the most creative person. Like, I love to dazzle my students, surprise them, teach them different ways, but I need structure, especially if you have students that have accommodations or on the spectrum, and some are diagnosed and some aren't. Some are getting streamlined, and streamlined meaning they go into normal classrooms, and they have not been diagnosed, but they've always struggled with social skills, making friends. There's something that just doesn't like click for them, and they struggle. So they can be maybe on the spectrum, and they've not done any testing, so you don't know when they walk into your classroom or they walk into your office. So what is critical to understand is you can't go telling them they have a problem because you watched like a 10-minute video about me. Okay, absolutely not. But what you need to know is what you can do to create engagement, psychological safety, and them feeling comfortable to come to you. So back to structure. You need to have a structured either meeting, classroom, or some sort of things that are always the same, so that let's say the student or the professional knows what to expect when they're showing up. So for me, in my classrooms, it's always the same. The first 5 minutes is, hi everybody, stand up, go say hi to people, boom, done and done. Number 2 I do is then I explain what we're going to do in class, and I do it in segments. I typically go over the week's assignments. Then I do a group activity, and I close with content. Okay. Then at the end of every class, I say 5 things that you learned. So that's my classwork. Okay. So now let's talk about structure in a meeting or a program. So it's very important that you start with a clear agenda, right? That doesn't go too much in the details, but gives them enough information so someone feels safe coming in, knowing what to expect. 2 is explaining in the beginning what will happen in the sequence, right? As you transition, use transition statements. As we're closing up this section, I'd like to move us to this one, creates that structure. And then also at the end, kind of recapping what were the main points of the meeting. Now, so that works for everyone, right? But honestly, when you have professionals on the spectrum or students that have accommodations, the structure is really critical. Now, next is establishing a one-on-one relationship and rapport. And you can even do that after class, before class, in your office hours. As professionals, you can do a one-on-one meeting. And so these meetings are critical to understand, okay, what do you need from me? How can I be best supportive? And so I like to use this one, and so this is my thing. How can I sometimes redirect you? So oftentimes, let's talk about my students. Students that I have that might be on the spectrum or struggle with social skills, they don't know when to not speak, when to stop asking questions, what topics are appropriate, what to not say to other students, and like kind of what I'm looking for is avoiding them, like other students giving them looks or having side conversations or things like that. I worked in the anti-bullying, anti-violence space for a long, long time. So we talk social status is very important in a classroom, the dynamics, you just want to pay attention. So having those one-on-ones, if the student wants to have that, is critical, depending on where they are. And so sometimes my students feel safe enough to tell me what's going on, like, hey, I have autism, or, I struggle with severe anxiety, I have PTSD. Now, please, I'm not going to edit this. I can't even say it. Post-traumatic stress disorder. And then so I ask about, okay, what do you need? How do I support you? How do I redirect you? And then what are some resources that you have on campus, off campus? I ask also, who is their sphere and influence? Who are their friends? Who do they have around them? And then I say, how do I redirect you? Okay. Once I establish that redirection is that critical thing between me and the person. Then what I do is, for me, it's like I have to sometimes, I'm human, right? If it's someone that is really active in class, it can be sometimes challenging for me. And so I use tactics of, I will get to your question. Thank you for answering that. And if they say, oh, I'm sorry, no, it's totally fine. You probably had a great question. Or I use transition statements. I want to build off what Amy just said because that was really important. So Amy was focused on this area, which is great because we think about it like in a business setting. Now let's go back to this. So by validating Amy's answer, I'm not dismissing her, but I'm bringing it back to the group, okay? That can be a great strategy. Additionally, using their name frequently so they know you're directly addressing them, and then saying, okay, that's a great question, but that's a one-on-one question. I'll get to you at the end of class, or that's a great group question, but I'm not there yet. Let's put it on the board and I'll come back. Now let's put this in a professional setting. So for that, you would also have a way of, if that person is really like busy in the meetings or distracting in meetings, you can say, okay, so what is a way I can redirect you? Because you are, I would say, like, if I were your boss, I'd be like, you're brilliant, you're on time, you're exactly what I need for this job. Now here's the thing. Often in meetings you get distracted or you take things off topic. So how do I redirect you so that it feels that I'm respecting you, that I'm giving you space to speak, but also that we're staying on task? And so having those open, honest conversations 2 ways are really important. And then being open to feedback of what they say. Now, if someone hasn't told you that they have a learning disability, maybe emotional stress, anxiety, like any type of disability that you can or cannot see, it's not your job to diagnose. No. But it is your job to support them. So if something's off or you see something off, you can't ask, like, hey, what's wrong with you? You can say, hey, you seem a little different lately, so is there any way I can support you? What have you been going through? Those are great questions. Now, lastly, if you see that professionals, like on the floor or the department, are treating that person differently, not having a meeting, don't have a meeting with excluding that person and talking about how they have to be nicer or kinder because that's so dismissive. And also what I would do is I would use one-on-one time with that person, be like, hey, so I'm seeing you're struggling with, like, working with your colleagues or working in groups. What can I do to support you? How can I introduce this? Like, asking that one-on-one, and then you ask that person, this is most critical in all the things I train about. How do you want to handle this? What do you want? What have you done in the past has worked? How can I support you? Those are critical skills to ask across the board, but especially someone that struggles socially, emotionally, or cognitively. Asking what they know themselves the best, right? You do not. So asking what would work for them is really important. And lastly, don't make assumptions, don't jump to conclusions, and patience is key. Patience for you, for them, and for the group, because we're all learning how to work together. And when we're talking about accommodations for people that struggle socially, emotionally, or cognitively, they need a period of adaptation, of transition, and then you need that too, and the group. Right? But you need to nip things immediately when they're not okay. When things are inappropriate, when someone's doing something they're not supposed to, you have to address it immediately, because if not, you're just saying, hey, that's okay to do, and it'll be repeated. Okay? So those are my tips for working with people that are socially, need a little extra support, emotionally or cognitively, okay? And do not ever assume that someone has any sort of disability or challenge if they haven't told you, because that is none of your business. What your business is, as a boss, as a professor, is to support them. And often on actually university campuses, there's a ton of resources. So I hope this is helpful to kind of navigate that space, because it'd be quite difficult. My next episode I'll do about transition statements, of how to redirect people that often talk over you, ask the same questions, and repeat things. So thanks for joining me. If you like what I have to share, please subscribe and save. Bye.